Animals were a British rock band. They were formed in Newcastle in the north of England in 1962, which is just a few miles away from where I'm recording this. And they were, at that point, Eric Burdon, Alan Price, Chas Chandler, Hilton Valentine, and John Steele. Their style was R&B / blues with a raw edge, gritty vocals, distorted guitar. They were kind of part of the start of the idea of rock as a harder type of music, and they were part of the British invasion to America as time went on. As they gained success, they moved down to London in 1964. A couple of years later, they started to fall apart. So in 1966, they kind of they didn't kind of abruptly stop, but they became a different band. Really, with the only remaining guy being Eric Burdon, and he renamed them to Eric Burdon and the Animals, and they moved to California and went psychedelic. They lasted there until 1969, and over this period, from 1962 to 1969, they produced 10 albums. Since then, there's been several reunions, resurgences, and rearrangements, and there's been 2 more albums that have come out since then. Hi, my name's Dan. So this was the 3rd studio album by the Animals, and it's my first time listening to it. So there's a little bit of confusion over this. Sometimes this happens in the list that I'm using from Acclaimed Music, is that it's actually got 2 titles listed here. And the reason for this is that there were 2 albums that had very much overlapping content. So Animalization was released in the United States, and Animalisms was released in the UK, and they had 2/3 overlap of content. And the one that I have listened to, and so therefore I'm reviewing, is the UK version, which is Animalisms. If there's a choice like this, I tend to go for the home country of whoever the act is. So at this point, the Animals had started to fall apart. Their keyboard player, Alan Price, had left and had been replaced. The content of this album is mostly blues / R&B songs written by other people. There are 3 tracks on the album that have been written by members of the band. And there are none of the big hits from the Animals on this album, so there weren't recordings that I knew, but there were a couple of songs that I knew because they're covers of other people's songs. I Put a Spell on You and Sweet Little 16 by Chuck Berry. Probably the strangest track on the album, which only appears on the UK one, is a track called Clapping, which is what it says on the tin, which is people clapping in rhythm. It's quite a complex thing, and they're clapping together, so it's quite cleverly done. So it's okay. In general, it's got quite a live feel. It sounds quite unproduced and quite rough and ready. In fact, at time, it sounds like there's another band upstairs that are kind of trying to join in. It's just that muddy and kind of chaotic. But it's not bad. This kind of live feel is enhanced occasionally by the singer talking in a story kind of way, introducing the song. Particularly one that I like, especially in this, is the track "One Monkey Don't Stop No Show," where the introduction mentions Newcastle. And given that I live fairly close to Newcastle, this interests me. It does sound a little bit odd, somebody talking about Newcastle in a pseudo-American accent, so it's kind of strange. So it's okay. Musically is reasonable. The recording kind of doesn't help me very much at all. So it puts me off a bit. But it's an okay listen. What do you think? Please talk to me through the comments box. That's it from me for now.
You know I got a letter from a friend of mine in Newcastle upon Tyne the other day. He said to me, "Eric, I heard you've been having some trouble down in the smoke with the girls." He said, "You want to catch that Flying Scotsman back up here to Newcastle? Because we got enough females to go around up here. And I can think you find yourself a little..."